When you are sculpting rough surfaces such as rocky textures, maybe even trying to create a quick rubble pile for a scene with a lot of battle damage, whatever the case may be, you want a really rough brush, and that's what the Carve tool will give you. For example, you could just quickly use a rough brush alpha. Hold down the control key to dig in. You quickly switch to something else. You could change your spacing up. Adjust your radius, rotation, jitter position. You can see how it bounces around. It does not take smoothing into account. So let me switch to a kind of a rectangular or square brush here. The default action is to extrude, but its primary purpose is to hold down the control key to where it can just very quickly carve out some very rough surfaces. And if you need, you can always go back and smooth it. I've got CUDA Smooth Boost, and I probably don't need to use that for this. And let me right click and drag downward to reduce the smoothing effect so it's more subtle. Yeah, so this is really good for quickly blocking out craggy surfaces. So I'm going to undo a few times. So once more, I'll switch to a square brush, and you might try this first draw mode if you want a little bit more finesse. Now the Carve Brush will actually allow you to create out in space. You don't necessarily have to carve into a surface. You can actually use it for creating shapes out again in 3D space like that. You can also use on plane. So with that checked, you have the ability to right click and use that as your cutting point. In this case, I've already got XY plane set. You could paint out in space. It's kind of like 2D paint in that sense. And it's going to do it along the X and Y axis. So let me hit the 5 key on the number pad, or you could hit the cube here in the navigation bar to toggle between perspective view and orthographic view. So I'll go to a side view and I'll hit all. Right click to zoom out, and you can see it placed that right on the X and Y plane. So let's go to a front view. If you want to utilize a grid placement, X and Y plane, if you want, you can turn snapping on. So I'll hit the 5 key to come out of perspective view. Turn that plane off, and I will also turn snapping off. I'll use the cutoff tool. And let's turn on plane off. To see more about the on plane functionality, make sure to watch the video for the plane brush. The functionality has been added where it makes sense, and that includes surface brushes as well, such as the flatten brush. Carve, again, it's really intended to trim away or carve away at the surface. That's why the on-plane functionality is there for that, but not with other tools like Vox Clay. Again, Carve, Plane, you have the same tool options here. And I think that's going to conclude this look at the Carve Brush and 3D Coat's voxel sculpting tool set. Thank you for watching. We'll see you next time.